Have you ever wanted to spend more time with your friends or family, maybe even your dad? Especially during quarantine, there was not a lot to do. One of the only sports to stay open was golf. Now, a lot of people think golf is hard and hard to play, but actually, it's one of the easiest games you can. The hardest thing is knowing which club to use in which situation. And now today, I'm going to try and help beginners, people that have not played before, select the right things to do. So first, you need your golf bag. A standard golf bag has 14 clubs. You have a driver, which you will use off the tee on longer holes, which are usually par fours and par fives. What that means is if it's a par four, you get 4 shots to get it into the hole, and that's considered par, and that is good. If you get it in 5, it is considered bogey, which would be 1 over. And if you got a par 4 and you got it in 3, that is a birdie. And the same with a par 5, if you got a 6, that'd be a bogey, a 4 would be a birdie. And if it was a par 3, a 4 would be a bogey, and a 2 would be a birdie. You can only go double par, which is a saying golf people like to use, is if you par 3, the highest you can score is a 6 if you do not play that hole very well. So on par 4s and par 5s, usually you will use a driver. The next club you will most likely use on longer holes is your 3-wood. This is a club you use probably at least 210 to like 230 yards out. The good thing about this is you don't have to just use this off the tee box. You only want to use your driver off the tee box because it is so stiff, it is easy to break, and if you do not tee it up, you have a high chance of actually breaking the club. So you want to use your 3-wood, which is built to go off ground, not off a tee. So that is a very, very reliable option for people. The next club you got is a 3-wood hybrid. Now this is a club that a lot of people don't like to use, and I would not suggest the beginners. Even myself, a person I've been playing for years, is not very good for this club. That club is good for out of rough, the tall grass, and most people usually hit that around 200 yards or so. The good thing about that, the ball, when you shoot it, it stays really low, which is very important when you are playing, especially when it's windy outside. If the ball gets high in the air, it takes it, and you just don't have any control. Next club, the next best club you have is a 5-iron. You can use this just about anywhere. You can use it for par 3s, par 5s if you're trying to lay up out of the rough, just about anything. Most people hit that about 190 yards. That has 48-degree loft, which means the loft on it, if you can tell, it's like open a little bit, and then each iron shot, that loft goes down a little bit, and when the loft goes down, it's more straight and the ball goes farther. So that's kind of how you know which iron to use in certain distances. The next longest would be the 6-iron, which most beginners would hit about 160 to 170 yards. This isn't a very common club people use. People like to shy away from it. They usually would use a 7-iron and 6-iron spots because the grain and theme is a 7-iron is probably the most easiest club to hit in all of golf. No specific reason. People just find it's more comfortable. There's more leeway with it. You can miss and don't have to be worried about things. The next clubs will be the 8 and 9 irons. Nothing special. People hit these about 130 to 150 yards. Yeah. Next is a pitching wedge. This is people's probably easiest one to hit. It goes about 110 to about 120 yards. Nothing special. People have to use that out of the rough a lot. The next ones we have are our wedges now. 56-degree wedge is something you use to chip around the green and sand bunkers. So whenever you're in the sand, you always use your 56. And then your last wedge is a 60-degree. This is a very, very hard club to hit, as the loft is so high. It does not go more than 30 yards. It just goes very high, probably 35, 40 feet high and only about 30 yards long. And then finally, you obviously have a putter. You only use this on the green. The only thing you can use it for. putters are self-explanatory. I'm sure everybody has played putt-putt. Then obviously, you'll need a golf glove to make sure your hands stay firm on the club, a golf tee. This is a 3 1/4 inch golf tee, and I highly suggest to young golfers to get a yellow golf ball as it is easier to find. Hopefully you learned something. Just a quick tip, pitching wedge is the wedge and iron that's going to go the lowest, and then your 5-iron is the one that will go the highest, and never to use your driver anything besides the tee box.